Hey Ratbags, it's Jade today, going over the latest 7 Days to Die news and info. Effectively, things aren't going well. Recent reviews are tanking and a lot of people seem to be unhappy with the Storm's brewing update as well as the implementation of paid cosmetic skins. Not everyone is unhappy, of course. A bunch of people are really super excited that they've now got these huge crazy storms and more tailored progression to guide players through the beginning stages of 7 Days to Die. But there are a lot of significant reviews pointing out that the game is being dumbed down and basically holding your hand way too much, restricting your play. And for sure, the cost of these skins, when some were promised as free as far back as 2022, does seem to have rankled people in the community. So let's discuss everything so far. So most recent reviews of 7 Days to Die are going down. You can see it's 76%, whereas the all-time reviews are sitting at 88%. And I do believe the most recent reviews was pretty close to the all-time review score. So definitely there is a lot of spiking going up with people leaving negative reviews. And it literally coincides with the actual big 2.0 update, almost outranking the amount of positive reviews on release date, which was pretty good. They managed to get it out a couple of days early on Xbox and PlayStation. But given it also been delayed twice, and really and truthfully, should a lot of the 2.0 content actually been in the full 1.0 launch? Now, there are some usual kind of trash reviews where people are just complaining about tiniest things, but there's actually a lot of really in-depth good ones, talking about how progression now has basically been messed up. And that's something bold to say about a game like 7 Days to Die. Check out this review from Dr. Moo, 4,000 hours in the game, and he's saying it's the worst in the history of the project. Going as far as saying it's sabotage. To put it into a nutshell, and what I've seen elsewhere, a lot of people aren't happy with the restrictions on being able to build in certain biomes at the start of the game. Now you've got to do these challenges, basically earn badges, and then eventually you'll be able to go and build yourself in other biomes. Kind of makes sense from a new player perspective to guide players, and it's what often big games will do. Even survival games are becoming more RPG like. But have they gone too far, and did they actually take on board what the community actually wanted? They have included an option to play the game in the old way, I do believe, but I can't lie, I'm not too sure if that meant just purely with the perk system or the brand new storm system. They do obviously seem inexplicably tired. But yeah, the rest of this review points out that you can't just go and build in a new biome anymore. Instead, you've got to go and grind and gather a bunch of mushrooms so that you can then go ahead and build in the burnt forest. And while it might seem like a minor gripe for players, long-time players, that have always loved a bit of a challenge and exploring further and maybe more dangerous areas, it does feel like a little bit too much hand-holding. So the negative review scores are definitely a mix of people that also don't like maybe the brand new skill and perk system, with some changes to some of their favourite perks. And although there's hundreds of brand new POI implemented, from what I've read again, a lot of people still feel like some of them are just kind of rehashed. But big criticism comes in the form of the DLC prices. You think seamlessly harmless, maybe just spending $10 on a skin to support your favourite game isn't the end of the world, given how much other games really shoehorn this stuff in. There is the argument that free-to-play games get away with this because they're free-to-play, hence why Fortnite can afford to spend maybe $20 on a skin. But $10 for effectively one skin set does seem a little bit expensive once the early discount disappears. They are purely cosmetic, they don't do anything game, so you really are just supporting the devs if you really like the idea or the look of this armor set particularly. 7 Days to Die hasn't always maybe done right by their community, spending literally 10 years getting the game out, bunch of updates that didn't hit the mark and have to go rewrite it, as well as revamping the engine. All these things have contributed to delays and the constant kind of bait in saying that something's going to release and then no, it doesn't actually happen, or it's going to be pushed back to this alpha or that after 1.0. Some fans are just pretty tired with them. Add in the console debacle, which I've been pretty critical of, basically effectively Xbox and PlayStation having to rebuy the game again after years of basically being ignored and treated pretty badly by actual fun pimps until they realised they could actually make a lot of money from console. I would argue that $10 for a skin is probably taking the piss a little bit. And what they should have done maybe was give one of these armor sets or these skin sets for free and let the other two be purchased for $10 together. When you look at the development of 7 Days to Die, and especially the 1.0 and this whole period we've been waiting for this 2.0 update, it's pretty obvious that a lot of the content in 2.0 should have been in the 1.0 launch. They rushed 1.0 just so they could label it 1.0 and then maybe start selling these skins. Not to mention the biggest one, of course, though, getting it out on Xbox and PlayStation again. For a game that sold 20 million copies, they do tend to seem pretty cash starved at times. Where's the money gone? 20 million copies, certainly over the years, shouldn't mean they're running out of money anytime soon, even if it has taken 10 years plus to make the game. Accusations that it's just funding their next project, as well as being able to help out with their other one, the Dead by Daylight ripoff that's incoming, although that is made by another studio and is just simply being licensed out. But it's such an easy win for the Fun Pimps to have just made these for free, or like I said, at least one of them. And the one that should have been made for free is the one they've used in a bunch of promotional material, stating that updates were going to come and would include one of these skin sets for free. If you go back to 2023 and 2022, they were showing off this particular skin set, the Player Marauder armor, coming soon to Alpha 22. But of course, this didn't actually appear. So they never labelled this as going to be maybe a cosmetic skin they would sell, clearly stating that it looked like it was going to be an armor set for everyone to have. Now, to be clear, I haven't spent a ton of hours in 7 Days to Die in most recent years because I basically boycotted them when they had the old Xbox and PlayStation stuff going on. But with 1.0, I did sink a good amount of time into it and I enjoyed mostly what was there, albeit still feeling like it was incomplete. So if I've got anything wrong here, please point it out to me. But again, another tweet showing up what they're going to be doing with new iron armor that never got added as something that you could just use. And now fast forward, it's now a skin set that you got to pay $10 for once the early access discount is gone. It's a bit shit, right? Like even the most hardcore 7 Days to Die fans out there surely recognise this is a bit scummy. All it needed was maybe an honest tweet or post on a dev blog stating, hey, you know what, we decided we were going to release this as actually a skin because we really want it to help support the game, you'll be supporting us, and we think we've got enough of these types of armors in the game. Some rationale, try and explain it somehow. Or the pro-consumer and the right way to do things, especially for fans that have put up with development of this game for so long, give it for free and make the other two as paid. Unless, of course, they have also been shown as armors coming to the game, but I couldn't find any evidence of that. I'm not against games making money. I think games that are popular, well received, should absolutely be able to do things that can generate income. And when it's absolutely optional, where it's just purely cosmetic, I'm down for that. To a point, I still don't agree that some things should be overly expensive, and I still feel like it's not really offering that much value here for just one skin set for $10. Maybe they'll do a whole pack, maybe if you buy them all together it'll be cheaper. But it's just not a good look. You've just delayed your 2.0 update that clearly should have been part of 1.0. You still haven't implemented some of the stuff like bandits and more that were promised as being part of the game for 1.0 years ago. You basically fleeced console players with only a tiny discount and then literally a month later offering it even bigger discount for people that bought it on sale. Effectively meaning console players bought the game twice over and more expensive. And now you can't even do the right thing and a bit of goodwill and make sure you're not being scummy by selling something that you initially said was going to be free. All that plus the negative reviews about the actual contents of the patch does seem to paint a pretty bad picture. On the flip side though, there are lots of new points of interest. I think they look pretty good, but as I said, some people are claiming that there's a lot of rehashing going on with them. And I don't necessarily mind games maybe rejinking stuff to make it a bit more broad for everyone. But 7 Days to Die is always meant to be a bit more hardcore. And the timing in these updates, well after 1.0, changing core features of the game, does kind of suck. Let me know what you think. Is this a storm in a teacup? Do you like the current new update? Do you like the new skins and you've bought them all? Or has any of this stuff put you off playing the game? Let me know in the comment section and I'll see you right back for some more survival news soon.